Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let's talk about what to focus on in your life at this moment. So a lot of you guys who watch my channel are of different age groups, you have different goals, you have different dreams, you have different talents, skills, strengths, right? So I'm gonna tell you right now that whatever you want to focus on should be predicated on where your pain is, the biggest pain, right? So starting out, we all have nothing, right? We have no money, we have no success with the opposite sex, we have no skills, we have, some of us have, a poor physique, we have terrible health, bad eating habits, bad habits in general, we have bad addictions to porn, video games, excessive smartphone use, right? So we all have things that we don't like. We just don't have value yet when we're young, right? We don't have tangible value. We don't have tangible skills. And we don't have tangible results as a byproduct of us not having those tangible skills, right? So I want to assert in this video that you should focus on wherever your biggest pain is and let that be what you focus on for the next foreseeable future. Let me explain. So your pain, the biggest pain you experience, or the biggest thing that you feel like you're lacking right now is where you should focus on. So for a lot of young guys, I'm gonna say that your biggest focus right now should be money, right? And let me explain. So a lot of you guys, you don't have a lot of money, right? Maybe you're broke, maybe you work minimum wage, you don't have any investments, you don't have any capital built up, right? You don't have a skill set, and some of you guys are living at home with your parents. Some of you guys don't have a car. Some of you guys, don't have your own apartment, like I said, and you're lacking a lot of things, right? And it's okay because you're a young kid, right? You're young. You don't have enough. You haven't experienced enough life to acquire these things yet, right? So it's not anything to be ashamed of or anything to beat yourself up on, right? But your biggest focus should be your biggest pain. So if you guys right now are struggling to get out of your parents' house, right? And that was my biggest struggle back when I was like 18, 19, and I wish I could have moved out sooner. Your focus should be getting more money, right? However, whatever legal means you need to take to do that, I'm not here to tell you how to do it. But if that means, hey man, I pick up extra shifts, right? I save my money, right? Like me, for example, I look back and, back in 2018 when I wanted to move out of my parents' house, right? And everything happens for a reason. So I'm not looking back in a resentful way, but I'm looking back in a logical way, thinking like, damn, maybe I could have done some things different, right? Back in high school, right, I wanted to move out. And unfortunately, I had a car payment that only allowed me to save like $200 extra a month. So it was really difficult. However, one thing that screwed me up, right, or set me back a little bit, was the fact that I really didn't like working at the time. And I still don't. I mean, no one likes working, but I didn't. Basically what I'm trying to say is I could have used my job to get me to where I wanted to be as it pertains to me moving out of my parents' house. So back in high school, for like 2 years, basically, I think I got my first job as a grocery clerk in 2017, right? So spring of 2017, and then I graduated high school spring of 2019. So 2 years, right? So I worked this job in 2 years throughout high school, right? But looking back, every week I only averaged about 15 to 25 hours a week, right? And I don't know if I'm from Massachusetts, so I don't know if there were child laws stating that, if you're under 18 or you're in school, you can't work over 20 hours. I don't really know. I don't think that was the case, because I think there were some weeks where I would pull like 30-hour weeks. But, looking back, if I had to redo it again and achieve the result of me leaving my parents' house quicker, I would have at least doubled the amount of work hours that I put in. You know, I would have worked 6 days a week, right? I was only working 3 to 4 days, you know, a week for 2 years. And that's just not enough, right? That's not going to get me the result, right? That's just, you know, and looking back, I wish I could have just bit the bullet and sucked it up. You know, it would have been tough, you know, going from school to work every single day. But at the end of the day, you know, when I graduated, I would have been able to probably leave my parents' house, right? Right there and then at 19, not 23 or 22, sorry. So that's 3 years I could have saved, right, living at home. You know, because I really, really hated living at home. Like I said, I hated coming home every day, you know, with a bunch of TVs blaring in my ears, a bunch of people talking, right? Like I said, I mean, you guys know, but I would try to study, or I'd try to, you know, record YouTube videos, and my dad or my mom or someone would walk in, ask me a question, or be like, what are you doing? Why are you recording YouTube videos? Like, you're too, you know, that's weird. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, that's not going to be a good career, or that's how do people make money off that? That's not secure, right? So, you know, looking back, if I would have prioritized that at the time, I could have got out of that situation a lot quicker. In the past year, right? So, no, 2 years. So from 2022, kind of taking you guys on a story here, but just hang in there. 2022, December of 2022 is when I got a second job, right? So 2 months prior, October, I moved into my condo, October of 2022, and I had like no savings. I had like $3,000 in my account, barely had anything in my account. But I knew that, you know, I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to have some savings, right? At least 6 months. And I wanted to start investing because I knew that, you know, I didn't want to I don't want to work a job forever. I told myself, like, I really want to be financially free by like 26, right? That was my goal. Or that is still my goal. I'm 24 now. So that was like something I made up in my mind back in 2022. And I was like, okay, like, you know, I got to save some money, right? I got to get to that 6 months, right? Because I'm damn near like close to the poverty line right now. And I'm really close to not having any money and filing for bankruptcy or getting possibly evicted, right? Luckily, you know, because my first job was barely paying enough, right? So, you know, my savings would have dwindled as time went if I hadn't got that second job, right? So I was able to save some extra money, and I started buying a lot of crypto, right? A lot of Ethereum. I bought a lot of Solana. I bought a lot of XLM, Polygon, right? Polkadot, Chainlink. I have a lot. I bought some Doge too. You Dogecoin enthusiasts out there, I got some Doge, and you know, my portfolio looks really, really good right now, right? And we're luckily just entering the bull run. But you know, part of me getting to my financial freedom goal quicker was me biting that bullet and picking up that second job, right? And this time I think I learned my lesson, because I knew back in 2022, you know, like I was like, damn, like I could have moved out of my parents a lot quicker if I worked more hours. So I was like, yo, I'm away from my parents. I don't have to listen to what they say. I don't have to, you know, listen to their, you know, constant criticisms of what I'm doing, or constant questionings, or constant opinions of what I should be doing instead of what I'm currently trying to do, right? So I got that second job, and I started working like 80-hour weeks. I started really pushing my limits, right? Some weeks, and I was working like 90 hours, right? And during that time, right, that was my biggest pain, right? My biggest pain was I'm broke. I'm sick of working at a job, right? I'm sick of being bossed around by my boss. I'm sick of dealing with these crappy coworkers. And instead of running away from that, instead of running away from my problems, right, like most people do, running away from my pain, I embraced my pain, and I went into the pain. I leaned into the pain, right? That's what you need to do. You need to lean into your pain, right? So I leaned into my pain, and I started to really just go all in, save that money, and I was able to invest that money for a good year into those low asset prices. Now my portfolio looks a lot better because I was able to buy up those low prices back in 2022, and like a good chunk of 2023. So that was my pain, you know, all throughout high school and for the past couple years. Now, you know, my goal is to stay consistent on YouTube, because I had to put YouTube to the side for a bit. As you guys know, I mentioned that in my previous video. But I had to put YouTube to the side because, like I said, I was working 2 jobs. So if you guys were wondering where I was working 2 jobs. I had, you know, a mortgage payment, I have insurance, I have all these things that everyone else has, right? But I had to save up enough money, right, to be able to have breathing room. I had to invest my money so I could buy back my time that I was losing, right? And I know, or I knew back then, that if I was able to do that, I'd be able to quit that second job, right? And then come on here and be consistent. And I would have the best of both worlds, right? Because I'd be able to live at home, right? I don't have any roommates, I don't have any parents, I don't have any siblings or people bothering me or people nagging me, right? And I have complete autonomy when I leave work to do what I want. There is absolutely no distractions for me from 3 p.m. to the time I go to bed. So I have 7 hours, right, to be consistent with whatever I'm doing, to work on my projects, right, to create YouTube content, to study, to, you know, go to the gym if I want, right? So, and I don't have any people distracting me, I don't have any noise, right? And that's, I think, what we all want. But really what I'm trying to say is that you need to focus on where your pain is right now, and you have to understand that you want to look at your life. You know, Abraham Maslow, the famous psychologist, says that we have hierarchy of needs, right? So, you know, it's our shelter, it's our, you know, our need for shelter, our need for food, and our need for sex. So you know, that's our procreation survival instincts, right? We need to eat, we need safety, right? We need to be safe from inclement weather, from animals, from, you know, diseases that, you know, we get exposed to in the wild. We need to be sheltered away from, you know, bad things, right? Inclement weather, you know, tornadoes, hurricanes. I live in Florida, right? And we need, you know, relationships. We need to have relationships with other brothers and sisters that can help us get to where we want. We need romantic partners so we can create a family and continue the lineage, right? So, you know, once Abraham Maslow says that once we get these things in order, we can then focus on higher things, spiritual things, right? We can focus more on the spiritual life. I did it the opposite way, unfortunately. You know, when I was in high school, I was really big into like meditation, spirituality. I read a lot of Buddha and a lot of the Eastern religions. And I was into like fasting for a while. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with fasting, but fasting or meditation or yoga or any of these practices, or reading like spiritual texts, nothing wrong with that. But looking back, you know, as an older dude, right? Because that was back when I was like 18. I'm 24 now, so 6 years ago. Looking back, I wish that I just focused on making more money. You know, not to say that those things, like I said, aren't important, but there's always time for that later, right? There's always time to cleanse your body and fast and do the things you need to do later to achieve the spiritual life that you want, right? Or, you know, do the things that you want. And I just wish that I would have done that. I would have focused on making more money so I could have left my parents' house faster, so I could have, you know, started making YouTube content more consistently without interruption. And, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to make a sob story. I'm just trying to prove a point to you guys who are maybe a little bit younger than me or around the same age, who are maybe confused a little bit in life. Because I can tell you this, from 2017 up until about 2021 when I moved here, so about 3 to 4 years, I was really confused, guys. I had no idea what I was doing, where I was going. I had the opinion of, you know, all my friends, all my family telling me to do this, telling me to do that. I would constantly just be like questioning like what to do here, and I had a lot of indecision, which caused a lot of anxiety and stress. Guys, when you are constantly going back and forth in your mind about what you need to do or what you want to do, or a certain action that you want to take, and you're just like constantly like weighing the costs, and you're constantly like predicting what it's gonna lead to, and you're constantly like just wondering if it'll work out. When you're constantly doing that, you're losing energy and you're stressing yourself out. You're making yourself anxious, right? So, you know, there's still questions about what I want to do as it pertains to a lot of things in life right now. Obviously, that doesn't go away, but I can tell you this: I have a lot better direction and decision making, and just sense of like where I'm going, as opposed to 3 to 4 years ago. And like I said, I mean, you know, I spent a lot of time in confusion, right? But that confusion led to, you know, me not being confused, right? So, you know, it's odd, but you know, life's a paradox. To not be confused, you will have had to have been confused, right? So, you know, it is what it is, and it leads to alignment, and it leads to order, right? You have to have chaos to get to order, right? So it works in that way. So just, I want to give you guys assurance that if you're feeling lost, confused, or you just have like indecision, you don't know what to do, you know, I just kind of told that story just to kind of help you guys like illustrate a point that life progresses as you age and as you go, and you don't have to like really worry and fret about where to go. You just need to look at where your biggest, I can say this, you need to look at where your biggest pain is, or what your mind is telling you right now, and go with that, right? And make decisions based off of that, right? And sometimes those decisions might lead to the wrong thing, right? But at the end of the day, your mind is always giving you cues as to where you're going and what you need to do, right? We're kind of psychic in a way, but you know, there's things that like in 2019, I had a constant feeling that I was gonna move to Florida, right? And I don't know where it came from, but it would just constantly be like brought up in the back of my mind, like on a daily basis, right? Like, you know, am I gonna move to Florida? Like, I really like Florida, right? And that just kept rehearsing itself in my mind, right? And then bam, 2021 arrives, COVID hits, my mom becomes, you know, goes to working remotely, and then bam, I moved to Florida, right? So your mind is always working towards creating the reality you want, right? You just need to get out of the way and like I said, just focus on where you're at right now as it pertains to where your pain is, right? And I think you'll thank me later for this message, so that you can not, you know, you can eventually just feel at peace, right? And feel like, all right, like I'm not confused anymore. I'm not really like debating on which path I need to go down, right? And I can just choose this thing for this set period of time and focus on that, and then I'll worry about what I need to focus on after that, right? So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And as always, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.